I was never a fan of Superman. I thought his characterization has been kind of boring, as I've only seen him as an indestructible god who just aura farmed when people blew up around him. And as someone who doesn't care about Superman, found out that the guy who made me give a shit about Talking Raccoon is not only running DC Studios, but directing the next Superman movie, I was surprised but intrigued and wondered, will this make me give a shit about Superman? The general premise is that Superman has to prove to the world that he is a protector after billionaire Lex Luthor turns the public opinions against him. There are a lot of moving pieces in this, and there's a lot of political undertones, I guess. But at the end of the day, it's a superhero movie. So, and if you want a spoiler-free summary, it's right here, or you could just go to the general feelings chapter. Anyways, despite it having really vibrant visuals and large-scale action sequences, I was glad that this CGI-heavy superhero action film actually had a personality and depth. Primarily with the characters, in the second act of the film, it is revealed that Superman was sent to Earth to take over it by his parents, which leads to the central dramatic weight of the film of Superman questioning his whole being a hero and helping people belief, alongside Lois Lane figuring out her relationship with Clark Kent. It was just a very unique and closer take on the superhero genre, as opposed to it being just a plot-driven CG mess that is trying to set up a wider universe, because this is the first film of James Gunn's DCU. So having a story that is very character driven and focusing on that character drama is kind of a breath of fresh air within this genre. I think David Corenswet's portrayal of Superman was really good, mainly because his character is just built upon the idea of being a good person, but also just a better script and vision this time around. And as someone who thought Clark Kent was more interesting than Superman, this film changed that for me. This time around, like with not only with the action sequences, but just with how Clark Kent is, it's made very clear that he is just an alien who is very strong. I also thought Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane was good also. She's a lot more involved in the plot and story instead of being just a love interest, which was also a breath of fresh air. Nicholas Holtz's performance as Lex Luthor probably goes down as my favorite villain performance, mainly because the level of hate and rage baiting that he does to Superman is just hilarious. Although the general motive is a bit of a hit or miss for me, but I thought his performance was great, and he just nailed it, and I just hope to see more of it in like future films and see how much that hatred just develops for Superman. The thing about this film is that it's kind of conventional. It's predictable, but it's not a bad thing because this film is overall very entertaining, and I never felt it to be dull. The characters were interesting, both good guys and bad guys. It's got that superhero actions that we all enjoy, and it's got its serious moments with its story and drama, and it's got silly moments with its humor, and sometimes the fucking flying shots. But beneath all of that, through and through, it's got heart. Even if the writing is a bit dry and corny at moments, but just the overall execution and what James Gunn is trying to get across both narratively and thematically just works well. Like, I found myself to be very moved at a very heartfelt scene with Clark Kent and his adoptive father, who this time isn't like a gruff and tough wise guy, but a very emotional man who reminds Clark Kent that he isn't his parents' heritage, but he is the choice that he makes as a human being. And that paired with the fucking soundtrack, which even though it's a reprised version of the original Superman theme, this one just hits differently. Where the whole original theme plays out like a superhero fuck yeah music, this one adds kind of like a dramatic haze to it that actually makes me feel something and got me all misty eyes, to be honest, since Guardians of the Galaxy 3 fucking rocket. A thing that I can appreciate that this film doesn't try is bite off more than it can chew. Like, within a 2 hour 9-minute runtime, it's not trying to set up a cinematic universe or trying to be bigger than it is. It's just trying to exist and tell a very nice story. Even if, yeah, the Justice Gang do exist to lean towards an expansion of the DCU, but it's never in your face, and they actually have a part to play in the story of the film itself without taking up any spotlight. Peacemaker made a brief cameo in this, criticizing Superman, which was like a fuck yeah moment for me because that show is amazing. And there is a Supergirl cameo at the end, which does feel like a, hey, we got Supergirl coming up next year, which, although it's not written and directed by James Gunn, I'm still looking forward to it. I've been aware of James Gunn with his work on Guardians of the Galaxy and Super, and that one bit he did with Sasha Grey, and to be fair, for the longest time, I thought he was a porn star. But it was watching the Suicide Squad where I became a fan of him. Not only it was a great film, but watching the behind the scenes and learning about his filmmaking and storytelling approach was kind of interesting as well as kind of inspiring. And finding out that he was running DC Studios with a new cinematic universe left me curious to whether he could actually pull it off. Because just a general shit show that happened with the extended universe with Zack Snyder made it seem like creating another cinematic universe outside of Marvel seemed impossible. And fucking Tom Cruise, The Mummy, Dark Universe, whatever that was, amplified that. And most of the DC film lineup just sucked. Even if Shazam 1 was good, the Snyder Cut was alright, and The Flash was serviceable. But with James Gunn now running the show, and Superman coming out, which being entirely written and directed, as well as produced by him, works well as sort of a statement of he's in his fucking element, and it's a good start. And there are diehard Snyder fans that are definitely gonna disagree and probably sent hate mail to James Gunn, but bro wrote a whole scene where it reveals Lex Luthor runs computer where monkeys are typing out hate messages towards Superman. And with the context of the elite DCU fanboys and James Gunn haters, it's kind of funny. I think James Gunn is a great director who not only has a clear style and vision for the thing he does, but he has a great music taste, which doesn't make me the first guy to jerk him off on it, but as Guardians of the Galaxy is kind of like the epitome of James Gunn's music choice. But I was kind of skeptical by hearing that this film barely has any needle drops as it is more of a score piece. But damn, James Gunn made sure that the score hit hard. I don't know what John Murphy and David Fleming are smoking, but I wouldn't mind having a hit if you catch my Tokyo drift. And yeah, the film does have a needle drop with a fight scene with Mr. Terrific, but the final scene where the film just wraps up with Punkrockers featuring Iggy Pop, I just can't describe it. It's bright, it's hope. It's kind of what wraps the movie all together very nicely. James Gunn may love music and movie making, but he sure shit knows comic books. Even if it does tread familiar and predictable tracks, Superman is an undeniably charming and a sincere start to the DCU. A solid 4 James Gunn out of 5. And you know what? Fuck it. Certified banger. It's my review. I think it's a nice film that stands out from superhero films because it sort of stuck with me. It made me give a shit about Superman when I thought his whole characterization was just boring and too simple. But James Gunn changed the lens and showed the real superpower isn't flight or strength or fucking laser beams, it's kindness. And that's punk rock as fuck. As Danny DeVito said, I get it now. Christopher Reeve is easily my favorite Clark Kent, but David Corenswet takes the mantle for being my favorite Superman. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought of it. I thought it was crazy when they revealed that Clark Kent is Superman. It was a real shit in pants moment for me personally. But yeah, after watching Superman, I might try to save a cat hanging from a tree, or stop an orphanage from burning down, or try to unscrew a pickle jar for someone. Anyway, have a good night. I'll see you in, I don't know, whenever. I just rewatched it. Yeah, 5 James Gunns out of 5. It was, yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot, Crypto Dog is also in this. He's the cute dog that I think everyone will like. It's up there with fucking Baby Yoda, who I don't give a shit about, and Baby Groot, who I kinda give a shit about, but, Crypto the Dog, what a G.